Hello, and welcome to our 21st Century Talk Show. I'm Angelique. Here at 21st Century Christian, we look to bring the Bible to life in these modern times in which we live. Today's segment deals with loneliness, especially during the holiday season. I actually wrote a blog post in regards to loneliness. We'll try to put a link down below so you can check it out. During this time of year, whether you're newly single or you've been single a long time, it can be pretty tough, but also throughout the year. So we're going to share some tips and strategies to help you to navigate this time and season of your life. But before we do, I'd like to share how we started with this talk show. It all began with the weekly blog that comes out Friday mornings at 8 a.m., 21st Century Godly Living. Truth be told, I never read a blog, let alone wrote one. However, God inspired me to write about various topics that we face from time to time here in this 21st century, but from a godly perspective. And whether you're a Christian or not, the Bible shares how God created us, and it is the blueprint for us living our best lives. So from the weekly blog post, what my team and I talked about, and we thought, well, let's do a talk show where we can discuss various topics. Because some of these topics may be brought up in a church setting and through sermons. However, in that setting, time is limited and you won't be able to truly unpack. But in this setting, from time to time, we'll have guest speakers, or perhaps I'll share, and we'll talk about various topics that are important in our lives here in this 21st century. But we'll always bring it with a godly perspective and using His Word, showing how His Word still applies even today. So again, thank you so much for taking the time and welcome. Please share this post because you don't know who could be benefited by seeing this segment. Now, on to dealing with loneliness. Again, whether young or old, we've all have experienced loneliness from time to time. And especially, as we said before, the newly single or those who have been single for some time. Wanted to share some tips, and as I said, in order to help you to navigate this season of your life and getting through, especially when those times when loneliness seems to envelop you and just overtake you. First, I want to encourage those who may not be lonely to reach out to those who are and show empathy and compassion to those who are suffering from loneliness. And in so doing, ask compassionate questions actually. So for instance, a lot of times we may say, oh, hi, how are you? And I'm guilty of this, where it's kind of superficial and we're not really digging below the surface. And then we expect them to say, oh, I'm fine, everything's great. We don't expect them to really come out and say or share. But really during this time when you're reaching out to a person who is lonely, ask them a question of, hi, how are you? Really. Letting them know that they can really share and talk and that you are really concerned about their well-being. Segueing from that, be a compassionate listener. This is a person where the individual feels they can pour out their heart to you. They feel that you're a safe person, a safe space that they can share because you really care what's going on with them and where they are in this journey in life. Another tip is that as a person who's not lonely, when you're reaching out, see if you can invite them to some of your festive holidays or a luncheon or what have you. Now, I will put a point here. We are living at the filming of this. I live in the United States. And it's really throughout the world. We're living in a pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic. And due to this pandemic, it has caused an economic downturn. And again, not just the United States, all over the world has feeling the effects of this. That being said, you know even more so, there are people who are probably suffering from loneliness, abandonment. They've lost jobs. They feel kind of hopeless and a little bit of a despair. So we all have to be creative during this holiday season to connect with family and friends. But if you do have loved ones and family and friends nearby and you know others do not, please look to reach out to them during this time to help them as they journey. Another tip I have, and I call this I want you to create a wellness happy kit, wellness happiness kit. This is what I call it. Mine is digital. Yours can be paper. I know some people enjoy paper as opposed to the digital format or platform. But I will share with you what I have in my kit. My kit, there are Bible verses, quotes on encouragement, favorite sermons, favorite verses, as I said, gospel music, Christian music, photos of scenery, sometimes instrumental music, you know, romance instrumental music. I love that too sometimes. Photos of family vacations, photos of family pets, motivational videos that speak to what I'm feeling at that moment. These are things that make me happy. So I encourage you to place in your kit what makes you happy, that puts a smile on your face and speaks to your heart and your soul at that moment. Only thing I ask and I encourage is that your kit be Christ-centered. And the reason why is when those feelings seem to envelop you, when you go to your kit, you begin to have God's love pour out to you through song, through sermon, through verses, through quotes and inspiring writings. His love will pour out through you, and then you will feel these loneliness feelings dissipate, the abandonment dissipates, and you start feeling a joy and a companionship during the holiday season. And again, as I said, always. So pull out your happiness kit when those times seem to overtake you and you're not able to connect with anyone. And also, another point and tip I have here is to get out of the house. Just get out. Now again, I want to say be safe because of what's going on with the pandemic, but get out of the house and perhaps volunteer. But even before volunteer, go out and take walks, see other people, go to a park and walk around. Sometimes there's beautiful parks in downtowns where you can take, you know, power walk, getting your exercise, seeing people, seeing families, put a smile on your face, say hi to people, and engage. But now going to volunteering. During this holiday season and always, even with the downturn and the pandemic, there are so many homeless shelters, churches, orphanages, organizations looking for people to volunteer. For example, I had a friend who says every season, she gets with a group where they collect funds, then they go shopping. And they shop for food, for clothes, for toys for the little ones, and they put it all together in care packages, and then they present it to various families in need. You can be a part of a group like that. Again, there's many other types of volunteer programs, but you could be a part of that. And it just uplifts you when you're giving to someone who is in such dire need at this time. And in doing that and shopping, you're mingling with the people you're shopping with, who's on the committee, you're making friends. Perhaps that can segue to other things you're volunteering for, other events. You're getting out and you're putting yourself out there. And remember, when you look to serve others, you're not only helping them, but you're really helping yourself. So keep that in mind as when you have these feelings of loneliness, to get out and share with God's people. Now, I do want to share this tip. For those who feel their loneliness leads to despair and on to depression, just stop it there. Don't allow yourself to fall. And when you can see it going that direction, if you have to, there is no shame. Get the help you need, whether it be family, reaching out to family members, church members, group therapy, or one-on-one therapy. Do whatever you have to care for yourself. There's no shame in having to go and get the help you need in order to get better, to have a better outlook so that you can be healthy and get back engaged in volunteering and being out there in God's world, sharing your gifts and talents. So please don't allow the despair to just fall deeper. Some people I've shared or talked to, they said, oh, I thought I can handle it. Sometimes you can't. So it's okay to go and reach out for the help that you need in order to get better and to walk you through this difficult time in your life. So again, I want to pray that your quest in finding a closer connection with individuals, but mainly with God during this time, that you will find a completeness. You will look to build a serious relationship with God through prayer and Bible study. And I want to share, know in your mind that God is with you. He has not abandoned you. There are times, when myself included, where we feel like, you know, God's not there. I don't feel Him. I don't feel Him near me. But then I had to stop and look around. When you see a sunshine, or sometimes even a rainy day, you know, with the grass and everything being watered, when you hear His birds waking up, you hear them chirping and waking you up with bird song. You see just the different surroundings around you. You see family, friends, neighbors. There are times that God is speaking to you. This is His world, and these are His children, us. and he's here. So even if you may not feel him, know he is right there with you. He loves you, and he's not going to leave you or forsake you during this time. Especially during the holidays and throughout your life, he is with you. I wanted to share a point with you, a personal testimony about myself and dealing with loneliness and being alone. I kind of want to talk about that a little bit. When I came out of a serious long relationship, it ended, and I felt myself having these feelings of loneliness just envelop me. A family member spoke to me during that time and said, you know, why don't you use that time to really engage with God? Why don't you use that time to just, you're not alone. You're with God, you're with yourself. Enjoy that time with yourself. And I thought I looked at them kind of like puzzled, like what? So when the feeling hit me again about the loneliness feeling, the feeling of abandonment, a lot of friends I try to call and reach out to, everybody had their lives, they were busy, and people are busy sometimes. So don't think they're ignoring you. They have their own life and they're dealing with what they have to deal with. So I just felt, there was no one here for me. So I then took my relative's advice, and I said, okay, I'm going to embrace this, and I'm going to be alone with God. That's where I developed the happiness kit. And I started with sermons and music and reading God's word and looking at pictures. Sometimes it was bittersweet because it was pictures of the past, but there were also happy pictures. After everything was said and done, I realized that I was beginning to know me. God was allowing me to put my life back together. He was putting me back together with giving me different encouragement to move forward, that he had not left me. I was not abandoned. And I was able to put myself back together in a healthy manner and to go forward using my gifts and talents and discovering even again the gifts and talents he's given me with writing and speaking to share with others when they're suffering and when they're down. So as a result, I'm no longer suffering from loneliness. Yes, there are times, a lot of times, that I'm alone, but I'm not lonely because I'm with God and I'm with me. And it's good to be by yourself sometimes, to have that time to just push away from the world and the chaos that we're all dealing with pandemic and economic downturn and just a whole bunch of craziness, political fighting and what have you. It's nice just to get away with God and to reconnect, re-energize, and then be ready to tackle whatever it is in life that you have to tackle. So again, my prayer is that God will be with you during this holiday season and always, and that you will find completeness and wholeness. When you have to go through any type of lonely feelings, you will become out complete and whole, and you won't be lonely. You'll just have that time alone, that healthy time alone with you and God. So until next time, peace and blessings. Take care now, and we'll see you soon.